Yo, what is up guys, it's Ghost here, welcome back to another video. It's been a while since we jumped on Delta Force. I've definitely taken a break from this game, as I'm sure most of you have, if you've even played it at all. So let's take a look at the new season. Is it actually worth coming back for? If you're somebody who maybe played Delta Force at the start and you didn't like the way the game played, or maybe you just got bored in Season 2 and you're looking for more content, I'm going to jump into what is exactly available right now if you jump in, what isn't, and if it's even worth it overall. As always, if you guys enjoy the content here on the channel, make sure you are subscribed. There is going to be a lot more Battlefield specifically to come here on the channel. I'm not sure how much more Delta Force I'm going to play, and you'll see why that is in the video. But without further ado, thank you guys for the support, and let's jump in. So about a week ago, I made a summary of basically everything that was going to be introduced in the new season to Delta Force. It wasn't absolutely clear, though, how much of that was going to be on launch day today, on the 21st of April, and how much of it was going to be coming later. So arguably the largest piece of new content is the new operator. He's called Nox. He's got a pair of night vision goggles. Although they don't really do what you'd expect, rather they make him move around the map stealthily. They sort of mask his footsteps and allow him to creep up on enemies and also avoid detection from other recon players and their abilities. Unfortunately though, whenever you use this special, it is accompanied by one of the most intrusive, obnoxious UI elements that I think I've ever seen in an FPS game. Yes, I'm not even joking. This is what you have to put up with on your screen whenever you're using his special ability. So whilst it may enhance you somewhat, it's also giving you a fair bit of impairment, isn't it? Why they decided they had to do that, they couldn't have some very subtle effect around the edges of the screen, I really just have no clue. I have no explanation for it, and I really hope they change this. Now, other than the special ability here, his passive is that whenever he damages an enemy, it takes them longer to heal, so passive healing. Also, if they're a medic or if they're an assault player and they use like a healing syringe, it's going to take longer for that animation to actually go through. So that is actually pretty powerful. Then he has a flashbang grenade, and then he's got this sort of whirling disc that he throws, and if it hits an enemy, it will do damage and then also apply a bleed effect as well as a slow effect. Now, this can be locked onto targets if you hold the key down, I believe, although I couldn't manage to do it successfully. And if you do that, it will sort of follow them through the air and explode on them. So it's, I suppose, supposed to be somewhat similar to the magnetic bomb that Viron gets. So if you stick it onto somebody, you hope that they're going to run back into their team and sort of infect everybody with this bleed effect. But most of the time, you're just going to be throwing it over the top of some cover or around a wall, similarly to how you would use a grenade. And it doesn't really seem all that powerful to me. So you can unlock Nox at level 15 in the Battle Pass. It is, of course, completely free. And then I would say the other main piece of content is the new night map. So what they've done is they've taken the trench lines map and they've basically put a nighttime effect on it. It's maybe more like dusk than nighttime, but you can clearly see that the visibility here is a lot worse. So much so that I actually had to turn up like the gamma on my monitor and use some sort of a boost effect so I could see players properly. Obviously what they're going for here is that people use thermal scopes and that sort of thing. You also get a new call-in ability for this map specifically, so if you hold 5, you can spend 1,000 points to temporarily equip night vision goggles. You get this little effect, the night vision goggles come down, and it lasts for around 60 seconds, and then after that, I believe it has around a 60-second cooldown, so you can use that a good amount in this map as well. And while I do think this is a cool map, and it's a nice little spin on the trench lines map, it's not a new map, is it? And I think that's what people are really looking for in a new season. It's brand new maps to play, because when you jump in here, you're not going to have the new operator unlocked. All you have is the new map to play on, and it's not even brand new. There are 2 other small pieces of content outside of that. There is a new gadget available for the engineer class, the flamethrower. This is pretty powerful, and you can use it effectively to clear out trenches and objectives and things like that, although I haven't spent too much time playing with it. But you only get 100 rounds, let's call them, for the flamethrower. Once you've spent that, you don't get any more, and it really does burn through very, very quickly. And then there's also a new tank, the GTQ-35. This is a light tank, so it's a lot more faster and agile than the regular tank, but other than that, it basically has the same old tank shell that you're used to. It's got the same coaxial HMG on the secondary, or is it an LMG? I forget which, and most of the unlocks for it are the same as well, with the exception of the other tank shell. This one is actually able to lock on to enemy tanks and do a homing attack on them. It is indeed classed as a missile rather than a shell. Unfortunately though, I wasn't able to unlock that one yet before I made the video because I'm not going to lie, I just didn't really have the patience to play any more of the game. And we'll get to why that is in a moment. So if you're jumping in today, that is basically your content. You have one new version of the same map that already existed. You've got the one new assault specialist once you get to level 15. Then you've got the flamethrower, a new gadget for the support class, and you have a new light tank to play with. It's not really a massive amount of content. Now, there is more coming to the game. For example, there are 3 new weapons, but they are not coming until mid-season. So we're talking somewhere around May. Same thing with the Commander mode. That is presumably coming to the game around May time as well. It's going to be some new limited time event with its own take on the Commander mode from Battlefield. There's also a new Levolution event where the building collapses on the Threshold map, but that's not in the game yet either. So what I would say is if you are somebody who was playing in Season 2 and you are hoping to come back in Season 3 and have new maps to play on and a bunch of new content, you probably aren't going to find too much to tide you over with here. That was at least my experience. You know, I've jumped in after many months of not playing the game and I got bored pretty fast. Now, on the other hand, the mobile launch is happening today, and in fact, as of the recording of this video, the mobile launch should be up now. So if you've never played the game at all, whether it's on PC or mobile, then you're going to have a decent amount of content to jump into there. And if you're somebody who's been waiting for the console release, I know mobile isn't console, but you might want to give that a look if you can run it on your device, and I do believe it can run on pretty much any fairly recent smartphone, even all the way back to the iPhone 6, which came out 10 years ago. Now, one of my hopes for Delta Force after it released is that they would actually put their money where their mouths were and listen to the community, work with them as they said they were going to do, and fix some of the problems in the game. As of now, a lot of the original problems that I had with the game still exist. So first of all, the vehicle mechanics, even though they promise to improve those, they are just absolutely terrible. The helicopters, I mean, just look at this guy I'm chasing around here. He's doing barrel rolls in the sky. I know this is not supposed to be the most realistic game ever, but I mean, give me a break. You can literally turn your rotors 90 degrees on the side and not fall out of the sky. You just strafe to the side. Like, the mechanics are so terrible, and for that reason, I very rarely ever hop in a vehicle in this game. Of course, there are still a bunch of annoying operator abilities. Luna's scanner arrow is still in the game. It has not been nerfed once, despite literally like everybody in the entire community calling out for it to be nerfed or even removed from the game. In fact, quite the contrary, it's been buffed at some point. Head glitches are still there as well, so people are going to kill you, you know, with just the tippy top of their head showing over some piece of cover or a box or something. One nice change that I did notice is that on the post-round screen, a lot of the sort of clutter there and the screens that you have to go through can be skipped a lot faster by spamming the space button. But then we've still got all of these exclamation marks that constantly flash at you whenever you complete one of the daily rewards, and you have to claim your XP boosters and all of that stuff. And then finally, I think the absolute biggest turnoff, and I was horribly reminded of why I didn't like this when I jumped back into Delta Force, and that is the skill-based matchmaking. So I had a couple of decent rounds, and then I was put into lobbies with basically only marshals, which is the top rank in the game, from the various seasons. Now, I know the rank isn't like a rank mode, but it still goes to show that those players have played the game a lot. And I think you can see from the scoreboard here, on my very first game, I got a 3 KD. You guys know from watching my footage that I'm not the best player in the world, but I'm pretty decent, right? I'm an above average player when it comes to Battlefield or Warfare in Delta Force and these sorts of games. The next game, I think I got like 8 kills and 27 deaths. I'm not even kidding, guys. Like, I got absolutely hammered by the enemy team, and this continued for another 2 or 3 rounds, so much so that I basically just started to throw games. I started running headlong into the enemy to kill myself in the hopes of next round getting something decent, because if you aren't happy with that round and you leave, just like you can in Battlefield, you will just get match made into another high-ranked skill-based match-made server. And so you have to see that round out all the way to the end before the matchmaking system will think twice about giving you an easier lobby. So in conclusion here, is it worth coming back for? Well, if you don't like skill-based matchmaking and you don't like a lot of the problems that I've just mentioned, probably not, no. I don't think there's really enough new content to actually bring somebody in and for that to outweigh a lot of the gripes, at least that I have with the game. But if you're somebody brand new, you've never played the game before, it's probably a decent time to hop in. You know, there is going to be a decent amount of content on the whole for you. And obviously, if you want to play on mobile, that's a good option there as well. But just know that these issues exist in the game, and it seems like the developers, even though they've talked nicely to us and said that they're going to work with the community, they obviously have no intent on changing these things at all. And to be quite frank, I just don't want to play Delta Force anymore, guys. Recording for this video here, getting to rank 15 of the Battle Pass just to unlock the operator and see what he was all about. After the first couple of rounds, once the SBMM started to kick in and I was getting these difficult lobbies, it just felt like a grind. Worse than a grind, it felt like a chore to play the game, and I wasn't enjoying it at all. So unless something changes in that regard, I think I'm pretty much just done with Delta Force. The amount of content here is just not enough after such a long wait. I really do hope they change something in that regard, because it's just completely like ruining the game for everybody. Delta Force does not need skill-based matchmaking, just like Battlefield doesn't need skill-based matchmaking, but here we are. As always, guys, leave me your thoughts down below. I know this video got a little bit ranty towards the end, but I wanted to be completely honest with you guys. I've just sat down, right? I've played pretty much the whole day, and this is the way that I'm feeling. You can tell my mood has not really improved after having played the game for several hours, so there you go. Do with that information what you will. Thank you, as always, though, for watching the video. Subscribe for more Battlefield, and I will see you guys in the next one.